you've created this culture, and most of it is because you've been in it, right? You're this mascot in your company, and suddenly you're being pushed out of your own business.
Welcome to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast, where we explore the ins and outs of the seven-figure journey. I'm David Gilliland, one of your hosts here with the Lead Entrepreneurs. I am so excited. We have Veronica Shelton with us out of Atlanta, Georgia. Veronica, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Okay. Veronica, you own a business. You and your co-founder there. It's Oak Theory. Is that right?
Yes, Oak Theory. Yeah.
It's like a design taken to the next level where you really infuse you've embraced, hey, let's get lots of diversity of ideas and thoughts and perspectives and create design that speaks deeply to people. And that's kind of your thing, right?
It is 100%. We are all about diverse perspectives. So that's like what fuels it, but then also about smart technology, good design, and making things work. So
I love that. Absolutely love it. That there's a combination when you bring in unique perspectives.
Yes.
And you co-create something that's better than anybody could do on their own. And that you've intentionally designed is awesome. So
yeah.
What got you doing this? What was kind of the birth of this little business of yours?
So Hannah's my business partner. We both came from this male-driven industry in tech, and we ended up working together at a company back almost 5 years ago. And when we first met, we were like the only girls in the room, and we kind of like bonded, and we were like, sorry about the noise in the background. And we bonded, and I remember she was like, we looked at each other like, what are you doing here? And I was like, what are you doing here? Because we were both women, but also women of color. And we were looking around and we're like, I know this shit. Do you know this shit? And she's like, I know this shit really well too. And I'm like, nice. So that was our bond moment. And then we ended up being friends, and it was a crazy time. I think it was right before the pandemic really hit. Businesses were panicking. She had just, the company that she was at had just shut down. And I was freelancing because I had just moved across the country to freelance. And she was like, do you want to start a company? And there's a really beautiful story that we usually tell together. And it's really the most California-ass story you've ever heard. Pardon my French. Because literally, like, when she asked me, do I want to start a company? We were on a highway in California. I looked over at her and was like, yes, I do. We pulled into a Chick-fil-A and wrote down our business plan on a napkin in Chick-fil-A. And we started our business. Each of us put in $500, and that we just ran with it. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And it didn't stop there. I mean, you passed your $1 million mark a while ago.
Yes.
You've grown beyond that. You've tripled from there. I mean, you just keep growing. And what I'd love for you to just share with our audience today is, what's one or two lessons that have really helped you since you passed the 1 million mark to continue to grow and not get stuck or plateau there?
I will say one of the things that definitely allowed us to even get here is when we first started, I am a huge fan of delegation. And so when we first started, it was already the idea of us making sure we never are in our own trenches. And we always have an outside view of our business. We always are able to look into our company and how it's running, so we're never too lost in it. And so as we grew, we kept that same mentality. And so we've ended up with growing pains of growing a team. I think we all know how that is.
Yeah.
Figuring out a really good formula to have a team that allows us to thrive and feel safe, even when we are away from the company. And I think without that, I'm absolutely positive we would not be where we are today. But that's probably one of the biggest things that I think keeps us.
That is a huge insight there, because most of us started off knowing our craft really well, figuring it out, and then getting helpers to help us do our craft. Or in other words, building a business that kept us in the trenches.
Yes.
and the two of you said, no, let's from the get-go. That means every hire for you, you were thinking, and what will they own?
And
Right? Like,
100%. It was literally like thinking me and her being like, okay, what do we want to own since business partnership, right? We don't want to be in the same place or we'll never
yeah,
cover any ground. And so it's like, okay, you're going to cover this. I'm going to cover this. What are our tasks include? And so from the jump, it's always been, how do we hire to fire ourselves
nice.
individually for each part? Like, you know,
Yeah, no, I love it. That's that Michael Gerber approach, right? EMIT, like, I see the organization now. I hold all these spots. How do I
yeah,
start firing? How do I move out of that
exactly.
spot?
Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Now let's make sure that we hire the right people to be there because that's the hard part. It's like, yeah.
That is the hard part. How have you done that? What have you built in your business to make sure you're hiring the right people? Because that's key for growth when you hit the million mark. To move beyond that, the right people
Yeah.
make all the difference.
Um, I don't want to be cheesy, but grace of God. Also just leading without an or hiring without an ego is one thing I'll say. And that means I'm always looking for someone who's smarter than me. I don't I used to hire someone where I felt a connection and I felt like I can help them and oh they're going to come in and I'm the master of my craft so I'll definitely be able to look after them make sure they do a good job. And now I'm more like what can you do for can you help me? I don't know this. Do you know this? Can you prove you know this? We're going to throw you a test to make sure you know this because I don't know how to do it. And so now it's just making sure that everyone on my team if there's not at least one meeting a day where I can jump in and feel totally lost with what they're talking about, then I'm not happy. So I would say that is the one thing is hiring not just to fire myself, but to hire someone better than myself.
I
In
love
that,
that.
yeah,
Well, you hit two things. One, and I'm just going to pull this practical to the listeners. You were saying, can you help me? Can you solve this problem that I'm not certain how to solve yet? I want to
yes,
hear how you do that.
yes,
And people are like, wait, you're not just hiring for something you already know. This is the
I
way
know,
we get things done. You're like, no, I'm
crazy.
hiring to solve a problem I don't know how to solve yet. And
Mm-hmm.
number two, then you were saying, then go prove it.
Yes,
I'm you have a chance. So part of your interviewing or true hiring, maybe you get done at hiring, but they only last so long if they don't prove it. But you're testing them out.
you have
Go and
to.
do it. Show me. And what a great way. What a great way. I mean, how many of us just ask a bunch of dumb questions and hope our gut tells us the truth?
We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
impossible to know if we don't know. So it's like, okay, I have no idea how to do this. I wouldn't even know how to answer the right questions. Thank God we have AI now that helps a lot because it used to be leaning on the community, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
would lean on my groups. I think most of us at this stage were in our
Our little
entrepreneur groups.
masterminds, our
Okay.
peer
So we
groups.
always have someone on WhatsApp be like, "Hey, anybody specialize in this?" Because and so I would lean a lot on that. I still do sometimes, especially on the tech side with like engineers and things like that. And there's parts where even if they did the project, I'm not going to understand if they did it right or if they, just got someone else to do it. There's certain people who can know those things. So, yes.
I love that. Wonderful insights. Are there any others you want to drop? Any other little nuggets you want to drop along the way, or do you want to move on to any question or issue you're wrestling with now?
It's up to you.
Well, I mean, this is a total side thing, and it's not appropriate probably for the listening audience, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Okay.
So my oldest daughter,
Mhm.
she has been she's one of these that tries and does everything all over, but she's really been diving into and learning Python in her coding classes, right?
Okay.
Because she likes the informatics type of things.
Mhm.
It still is not that welcoming of a field. If
Especially
you
from
were,
her.
especially for her, for
Yes.
a her,
Or a her.
still not that welcoming. Um, what would be the advice from an entrepreneurial owner who's both succeeded inside and on the outside? Would you say go get your stripes in the business, go prove yourself through there, or would you say branch out and just go build your business?
I would be wrong if I said be anything but the first one because I spent most of my early career as a unicorn in Silicon Valley. And so my background is in design and development. And I was considered a unicorn. And a unicorn there means you can design and you can develop. On top of that, I was animating, creating 3D models. I was anything that was on a computer. And I got those experiences though by, of course, I think if she loves it, it's a hobby. You do it on your own. You have Reddit groups that you can go in for challenges. You're able to get on GitHub and join groups there too. But you cannot get the experience on your own. You have to go work at these companies. I used to call myself a brand whore because I would be at every good, well-known brand that I could touch because I was like, I need to touch those experiences. They have the best of the best at these bigger companies, right? And that's how you build your network. Then you can go branch out on your own. That's the best formula. With me, I worked company to company. I don't want to say this because I don't want anyone to do this to us, but you kind of hop around, right? To see where you can get the most value from your team. Mm-hmm. And I would do that. I would go to one place. I'd be like, I'd get in the loop. I'd know people. I'd meet people. They teach me things because I was always a sponge, and that's what you have to be as women. Cling and be a sponge and get into those places that sometimes we're not always invited. And sometimes it's because they don't think we want to be.
Yeah.
Boys will be boys, girls will be girls. So get yourself into those environments that you'll only get at like bigger companies. And then as you build your network, go out on your own and start your own thing. For me, it was very nice to go out and start my own thing because now I had a network of people that I could rely on who already respected me because I built my reputation at these places. Yeah. And so that was just a really nice, badge of honor to wear. So
looks like I'll finally have a podcast my daughter will listen to. All right. So
go get it, girl. And then come to Oak Theory. We're always hiring.
I love it. Okay. So diving into your business now, the beauty of growing your business so well, so successfully as you and your business partner have done is that you've earned the right for bigger and better challenges.
Yes.
Right.
Every day we're earning the right.
Every day.
You don't feel like it.
Where are you at now? How can we help you? What's top of mind that maybe we could bring you a little value while you're on the call?
Top of mind. So there's so many things top of mind. But I guess it would be I want to use this time really wisely. So I'm trying to think of something good. Well, we're already out of our trenches, right? Mm-hmm. And we're growing. I will say one thing that we do struggle with is, here's my struggle. I am moving as I'm firing myself with a team, right? It's causing me, I never get to take things off of my list. It's more like I've taken these things off my list. Now I have to add these things over here because now I can be here. And so as someone who's on the side of the business where I was on the design tech side, I was talking directly to the team who's doing the services, right? Now I'm moving because I'm getting out of this space I'm completely out of the space of doing the work. Not there. I'm in the space of meeting people, talking to people, being an advocate out and about for our team. And it's been a very tough transition of like feeling like I'm losing touch with my team because I'm now like mom's out to work and I'm not here with the kids anymore. And so I do struggle with that a bit because I feel like when I do come in, it's just different. I don't know. Is that a challenge?
Yeah, can be. Let's see if it's valuable enough to you. If you don't solve this challenge, does it get in the way of your top goals?
I think it helps achieve goals that I have to do it. But at the same time, I don't want to lose touch with my team because I like the culture that we have. We have a culture that's very, and I feel like now that I'm out of the loop, I'm not part of it anymore. The team has things on their own that I'm not invited to. So it's like, And it's okay, it's great, but I struggle with it a bit, with
Yeah.
feeling like, oh, okay, I'm not in the crew anymore.
Let's play with two ideas from it. So there's
Okay.
one side which is a culture side. So I want to define culture as like observable behaviors. It's sort of the norm on how this group gets things done.
Yeah.
It's both the how the genius comes about and how the efficiencies work and operate. Is sort of the culture. They see it. There's a trust built. There's a way, and everyone who jumps into that and becomes a part of that succeeds. And anyone who can't seem to be a part of it sort of fails in the organization. They don't last,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they have to kind of get in. So there's this part of a culture uh, that if it can't expand with us, we actually hit a new ceiling of growth. Okay. So
Okay.
there's something that's there. Then there's this other piece, which is like my identity and my love that I'm letting go of, or what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Um, and how do I transition out of that and not feel empty, not feel regrets, and therefore not able to show up in my new role that needs all of me, right? In the new space. Is that what you're talking about, or am I missing the point?
No, I think that's it. I think that's a tough question to answer.
It's hard, huh? Um,
Um,
is this piece you're working on one that's saying, I'm worried about my connection disappearing merely because of my own sadness and nostalgia? Or is it the connection is something I'm worried about losing because this is a driver of who we are? And I'm worried we won't be the same. We won't have the same greatness as we grow on if I'm
yeah.
not connected.
I think it's like, what do you do as a founder when you've created this culture
Mm-hmm.
and a whole most of it is because you've been in it, right? You're
Yeah.
this mascot in your company and suddenly you're being pushed out of your own business. So you feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
you're I don't know. Like,
Oh, okay. I'm going to play in that. You're being pushed out by your own team who needs you to go and do other stuff.
yes.
Okay. So let's sit in this one. And most people listen to this and be like, this doesn't make any difference to my revenue or profits.
Then
I,
it's true.
I want people to know, actually, it does. Let me show you how you can mess it up if you don't do it right.
Mm,
Um, so we're going to leave actually, they kind of come together. So let's play. Um, but let's take from a little page from personal life first.
okay.
What do you think it feels like for parents when their kids grow up and the parents aren't around anymore to see all of the things the kids are growing and learning? And if they're siblings, maybe they're talking with each other outside, they're doing these other things. They've become independent. It's like everything you worked for.
Yeah.
And yet, if you insert yourself into their life at this point,
Yeah.
or heaven forbid, parent their child, even though it's your grandbaby, parent their child instead of giving them the room, what starts to happen in the organization? What happens in that family?
Tension.
A lot of tension. People stop getting invited to some things. We
Yep.
start having animosity. The whole community you were trying to build starts to come apart because you're not letting go,
Yeah.
right? But being a grandparent doesn't stop you from influencing the culture for your grandbaby. And you don't stop parenting your children just because they're not in your home. You
Yeah.
just have a new parenting. You have a new thing to do. And if you learn to embrace it well, you're able to really leverage what you are, who you are, and your relationships become sweet.
Yeah.
Now, when you see the grandbaby, it's like, oh, it's awesome, right? It's like everything you're looking for because you're seeing others generating more people embracing the same values, the same
Yes.
tenacity, the same love and passion. It's like an expansion, and you see it continuing and continuing generation after generation, deeply fulfilling when you learn what your role as a parent is to parents and how you grandparent. So now let's move it to a company.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a new role, but let's talk about some of the specifics.
Okay.
One, there were specific things you did to build a culture inside of this direct team while you were touching them.
Yes.
Don't let that culture die.
That's what I'm trying not to do. And
Great.
I'll say this. It's the tough part, right, is building a culture around like always being supportive. And I think this happens a lot in women-owned companies. We've talked to others where we do come in very nurturing to our team. And we've had people leave because suddenly that nurturing isn't there anymore.
Oh, well, we can fix that. Let's build the nurturing into the business.
Hmm.
So here's where here's the secret to transition. The error is that the culture belongs is embodied in Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
That's where our error is. And the same in parenting. If the glue is mama or dad or whatever we want to call the parent, if the glue is them, it starts to come apart when you're not around.
Yeah.
So what we do is we transition that from a person to a vision. Take it outside
Add it
and
to the.
say, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Veronica that we're following. And your business partner's name again?
Hannah.
It's not Veronica. It's not Hannah. Those aren't the people we're following.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's not people. And then they're going to follow you, and that's wonderful. And you're still going to lead them. But the thing that they serve above everything else is a purpose or a why. It's
Yeah.
higher than everybody. And they need to see that Veronica serves the purpose. So does
Yes.
Hannah.
Yeah.
And Veronica and Hannah are subject to the values. When they break one of those, they come and apologize to all of us in deepest sincerity that they were not true to that value. In other words, we subjugate ourselves to something higher,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an ideal. When we do that, and think about parents who bring in ideals, beliefs, standards, some use religion and the teachings that are within there, and they say, we all serve this ideal, then everybody can serve that. Now, when you move from the place, it's okay. Your job is to now teach this person or these three people
How to
how they'll
continue. Mm-hmm.
teach the next generation about serving the ideal. And your whole job when you're talking to and caring for the grandchildren
Mm-hmm.
is identifying future leaders that you can sponsor and bring up into those roles of leader. And the
Yeah.
leaders are the ones that you're no longer telling them how to do everything. Instead, you're asking questions about how they serve that purpose.
I
You're
love
asking
that.
questions about how they build a team, but have something higher than you. Now, when you move on, everything can keep serving, and you're not moving on and away. You're actually moving up because there's a new work that needs doing.
Yeah.
Right? We just
Yeah.
mentioned one, right? You've got sponsoring new leaders, identifying people that you can have come and be a part of a special project, working alongside you on something you needed a little help and they had some know-how.
Yeah.
They could come in and do. And what you're doing is you're seeing, how are they thinking? How do
Yeah.
they reason? And can I
Exactly.
train that reasoning, right? They're working alongside maybe with their boss with you, a little team.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Right? So you're having these moments and times you're seeing, you're in those meetings, not just talking about the project. You're saying, now, remember, we're here to serve this purpose. So how will this project help us do that?
Yeah.
Or we got to solve this problem. How do we do that in line with these two values that are so core to us? You're
And that's
reinstilling that.
it's good because one thing about our company, right, is we are extremely mission driven. Most of the people who want to work for us, there's the side of a women owned company.
Yep.
So they come in because of that. But then that means that they want to work with the women that they see, And then there's a side of the diversity and the diverse perspectives. So there's like that, which I think speaks to exactly what you're saying, where that's what we're working towards. Like, diverse perspectives, bringing that to every project that you work on. So then it's about them and not about us.
That's right. That's one of your core values. And you're
Yeah.
helping them see you're not serving
Hmm.
us.
Hmm.
We're all serving this.
Yeah. The bigger
Now let's
purpose.
run fast together. This is a way to make a culture live beyond the founders. And it's where
Yeah.
most fall short. But it's also the key of going from 3 million to 10 million.
Yes. From your
3
mouth.
million to 10 million is this. It's we've got to have this culture living loud, because now you're in essence going to have 3 times these teams, this core team that worked well. Now there's got to be 3 of them all functioning without you there, fully aligned and doing great stuff.
Yes.
And so
And then
this is
someone
one
keeping
of the
track of
things.
it. Oh,
That's right. So
yeah.
think, I'm sponsoring and building new leaders to be in.
Yeah.
I'm getting the culture more powerfully inside. So it's more talking about pointing to the purpose, pointing to the values, pointing to the mission,
Yeah.
and then inviting them to do the same. Let's get their mouths saying it more often, getting them to sacrifice or do things that are hard personally to serve that larger vision. You're basically like converting them into leaders for your
Who
business.
so then who would, knowing like we're a full service studio, right?
Yeah.
Who would be the people who would be those
Potential
core,
leaders.
yeah, those potential leaders
Yeah.
from the jump? Who would we?
From the very beginning, when you're hiring and you're looking at people, first, you need to get ones who are so passionate about your purpose. And let's make sure the purpose can serve where it needs to. We probably need more discussion about this, but you got the gist.
Everyone that has that already in them. We all know our purpose.
Great.
There's definitely it's
They've got
yeah,
the core values, they're
yeah.
living them. Great. Then the next piece is, are they doing their day job? And are they starting to wonder and think about something more than just getting their day job done?
Hmm.
I love to look for people who are wondering.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not coming out of them because in some cultures, not necessarily yours, but what they grew up in, that they feel like they have to wait for permission.
Yes.
Sure,
Oh God.
let's smash that someday, but while we're dealing with it, anyone who's doing their day job, they're hitting, we call them their big threes. Here's the 3 results you have to hit for us to be delighted in your role. Great, they're doing their day job. Those people on a quarterly or every couple of months basis are eligible to be part of one of our strategic initiatives. I'm going
Hmm.
to pull them into a team. This time it's these 4. We're going to try them out. We're going to come do this. They're going to help us frame it. We're going to work on it. We're going to move it forward.
Okay.
They're being trusted to work alongside, and I'm testing and seeing. It's all extra credit work. They're still
Yeah.
doing their day job. This is an hour, 2 or 3. Well, those who put a little bit more interest into it, a little
Yeah.
more effort,
Yeah.
asking those right questions, I'm going to nurture them and have them do some more projects with me.
I love that because we have that. We have the
Yeah,
ones who come in and they're like, "Oh, why don't you guys try this? Can we do that?" And
that's
it's
right.
tough though. I
We
guess
just
it's yeah,
we just build it right into the system. Build it into the
sacrificing a little
system,
time to go.
sacrificing a little bit of time to go and do. And I'll
Mhm.
take off from their plate. If I need a lot of their time, I'll take off
Mhm.
from their plate some of the utilization that they have to hit, some of the
Yeah,
project work,
fair
just load
trade.
them up a little less, because
Um,
I am investing in my leaders that I need 2 years from now or 6 months from now for this to move forward. If
that's
I'm not
real.
willing to invest in that, who will?
No, that's real.
Nobody.
I
So
love
that's what
that.
we're going to do. And that investment is not, we're looking at, oh man, how am I going to take care of that project? That's a billable rate of $250 an hour, right?
Mhm.
That's nothing. I'm talking about a $7 million difference between where we are now and where we could get to if we had the
Yeah,
right leaders in place.
yeah,
I've got plenty to fund it, right? So
yeah,
let's look at it that way.
yeah. Okay, I like that. I
Okay.
like that a
Did you
lot.
get a little bit of value from this? Did we hit
I
on
got a lot,
point
and I got
for
a
you?
tactical. That's all I need always. I just need
Time
a
to
tech.
tackle it.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, great. Veronica, it's been so delightful talking with you. If someone wants amazing digital design
Yes.
that really hits on point and speaks to an audience, a broad audience, really powerfully, how do they get in touch with you?
So, yes, we are full service. I will say this and put this out there. We're full service. We go from all the way from branding, strategy, design, development, deployment. So, we have the full team there. If you wanted to reach us, you can go to www.oaktheory.co, and you can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn at oak.theory or oaktheory.co. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
That wraps up this episode of the 7 Figure Journey podcast. We hope you as listeners found value as we did. And if you did, please like, share, do what's necessary to share with other business owners that are also pushing through this 7-figure journey. Until next time, keep striving, keep learning, keep growing, and keep caring.